Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at Power BI line chart. This is a part of my series on Power BI native visualization and exploring their capabilities. If you're new to this channel, you can check the link in the description for the previous videos I have done regarding the visuals that we have and their capabilities. So as you can see on your screen, these are the different types of lines that you can achieve using this line chart here. You have the normal line, then you have the smooth, and as well as step. On this next page, I have the different kinds of formatting that you can achieve using the native line chart. Here you can highlight the minimum and the maximum. And on this part, you can highlight the values above a certain range. Here, I have the values above 1.5 million as green, and the ones below 1.5 million as red, highlighted in red. On this next page, I have a way for you to clearly highlight your legend to pass detailed information. You can see that when you put the product on the chart, you can see that you cannot really make sense of what's going on here, but you can modify this to look this way in the sense that when you now click on any particular product of interest, that particular product is highlighted and it's compared to other ones, and you can clearly see and make decision from this. So let's get started on how to build this amazing charts. So the first thing we're going to do is to look at how to build this chart with these different lines using the simple line chart. So I'm going to click on the line chart here. This is the native line chart. Expand that. And we're going to look at the functionalities that the simple line chart has. So on my data, I already have a measure which is total sales. I'm going to take that in here on the chart, and I'm going to look at that based on the date. So I'll clean that up. I don't want the title of the Y and the X axis. Okay. So right now we have just the native line. If you want to change the line that you have, you can go to lines. When you have different series, right now I only have one line and one measure, which is total sale. But when you have different measures, they show up here and you can change them based on the line that you want and the color of the line that you want actually. So right now we have a solid line that you have an option of choosing dash style, dotted style, or you can even customize based on your interest. I want the solid line. Then the interpolation type, this is where the line changes. Right now we have just linear and smooth. If you want a smooth line, under the smooth you have different types, the monotone or cardinal. I just want my linear, but you can also look at the step. You can select where you want the step position to be. Right now it's defaulted to center. You can select it to be before the particular data point or after the particular data point. So I want my interpolation type to be linear. The color of the line, you can change the color of the line, as well as your markers. You can turn on the marker. There are different types of markers, but these are the shapes that are available. And you can adjust the size of that as well as the color. Then the data label, you can turn on the data label, and we also have the option of a series labels, but due to the fact that I only have one measure here, this option is actually grayed out. Then you can also adjust the plot area background by adding a picture, an image to be the background instead of just a plain background here. Then there's an option of trend line. If your data requires you to add a trend line, you can do that and format that particular one. Then there is an option of reference line as well, and error bars, even forecasting. The line chart in Power BI actually has different capabilities, and you can explore based on your data and be able to represent your data in the optimal way possible. So the next thing we are going to look at is how to highlight the minimum and the maximum on a line chart. So using the chart that we created earlier, we're going to highlight the maximum and minimum. So I'm just going to change the line so that it will align with what we currently have. Linear to smooth. In order to highlight the maximum and minimum, we are going to be using some measures. I've created two measures, max data point and minimum data point. The max data point, what this measure is doing is that it checks the selected financial data. If that financial data contains the maximum of total sales, it returns that maximum. If it doesn't contain, if that particular selected financial data does not contain the maximum of this total sale, it returns blank. So we're going to be adding this to our measure. We're going to be adding it to the y-axis. Right now, if you look closely, you can see that the marker of this particular maximum, which you can see physically, let me expand this. The marker is actually different from other ones. The color of the marker is different from other ones. So it's highlighting that this is the maximum. Then for the minimum, which is opposite of what the maximum is doing, it's the same measure, but it checks if that particular selected financial data, that couple of rows that is being represented, because our y-axis is the financial date, if it contains the minimum of total sales, it's highlighted. But if that particular row doesn't contain the minimum of total sale, blank is being returned. So I'm going to add that mean data point to this particular part. You can see that the minimum has been highlighted. So the next thing we're going to do now is to start formatting it so that it will look like this. So I'm going to turn on the format pin. The first thing I'm going to do is to change the color of the marker. Now you have different series. So it's telling us which marker do we want. First, I don't want the marker to show for others. So for total sales, I'm turning off the marker. Then you can see we only have marker turned on for the maximum and minimum. Then on the maximum, I want the color of the marker to be green. And on the minimum, I want the color of the marker to be red. Then I will change the color of my line. Now the line for total sales. So we have something similar. Now we want to turn on just the data label of the maximum and minimum. We don't want to turn on the data label for others. So under data label, you can see that by default everything is turned on. So I want for maximum total sales, turn off data label. You can see that just the maximum and minimum is being highlighted. Then the position of data label, I want for the maximum to be outside. So position above so that it can be more visible. You can also make that of minimum beneath, but I can still see it from here. So, and to clean up further, we are just going to turn off our legend. The next thing we're going to be looking at is how to add conditional formatting for a particular target that you have. Just like we have here total profit by month, whereby the data points above 1.5 million is highlighted in green and those below that are highlighted in red. So to do this, we are going to be using the same chart that we created earlier. And we're going to be using the profit. So I'm going to change this to measure for total profit. And in order to achieve this, we are going to, this actually entails changing the color of the marker. But one thing you would notice when you click on the format painter for a line chart is that under the marker section, for the color, there is no option for conditional formatting. In order to achieve this, we have a workaround that we're going to be using. So the first thing is to change this to a clustered column chart or any column chart. When you look at columns in a column chart, it has the option for conditional formatting. So we can use a measure here to change the color the way we want. So the measure that I've created is known as formatting. This measure is a simple one. If total profit is greater than 1.5 million, let the color be green. If it is less than that, let the color be red. So we're going to be applying that measure to this conditional formatting. Format style is field value. Um, Data is on, the measure is known as formatting. Select that, then okay. You can see that it has been highlighted. So you can now revert back to your line chart. Let me select line chart. You can see that we've been able to apply this using that particular method. Then let's quickly clean it up to look like what we have above. Line, population line is smooth. Then the line itself, the color of the line is dark gray. Finally, we are going to be looking at how to highlight a legend to make it clean. As you can see here, when I select a particular product, it is highlighted and compared to other ones. When you create a chart and add a legend, let's use our chart. When I add a legend to this, which is going to be the product, so you can see here that you cannot really make out what line, the lines are clustered together. In order to make that easier for your consumers of your report to understand, we're going to create the chart that you can see above. So the first thing we're going to do is on this particular chart, we are going to change all these lines to gray. Turn off the legend. This is legend. And turn on the y-axis. Then we're going to set the minimum as 0 and the maximum as, right now we have 8 million. So we're 8.5 million as our highest here. So we're going to set the maximum to 9 million. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is to turn off the title itself. Then copy. Then we're going to change the color of this to orange. So the next thing we're going to do is to align this to the other one. Then change the transparency of the chart itself. So I'll go to size and style, background, set the transparency to 100. Now I am going to make the slicer to interact with this particular first one. And before now, actually, you can see that, let me just check. So right now it is none, but I want it to interact with the one in front. So I'm going to turn it on. Then I will align it. So you can see that the one in front is now being highlighted while the one behind, it's actually helping you to compare with other legends. So you can also turn on the data label as well as the marker for the one in front. And data label so that it can give you more information. Please don't forget to like and subscribe for more and share the video as well. Thank you.